Tips and tricks related to IELTS reading skill.
Today I am going to discuss with you some common tricks in true false questions which you come across in your IELTS reading module. Please note all the questions being discussed today have appeared in IELTS reading exams. The first trick is to look for incomplete or excess information. In these questions, some information is missing or extra in comparison with the relevant text in the passage. The answer in this case should generally be not given, but students generally mark it yes. In some cases, the extra information may go against the paragraph and the answer may turn out to be no. Students who try to match keywords especially commit a mistake here as they don't focus on the whole statement. Now we'll discuss this point with some examples. So this is the example. The paragraph information that is in the passage, it is written, Wells wrote a science fiction classic, The War of the Worlds, about an invading force of Martians who try to conquer Earth. They use highly advanced technology, advanced for 1898, to crush human resistance in their path. Now the question is, technology of Martian creature was superior than what human had at that time in every field according to the War of the Worlds. Answer is not given. Here the question contains extra information which is in every field. If the question did not contain these three words, the answer would have been yes. So, this question says that the technology of Martian creatures was superior than what humans had at that time in every field according to the War of the Worlds. But in the passage, it's written that they use highly advanced technology to crush human resistance in their path. So they use advanced technology, no doubt. But is the advanced technology at that time in every field better than that of humans? So every field is not there. So this is extra information in the question, and because of that, the answer is not given. Now let's go to question number 2, example number 2. The paragraph says, progress in the social sciences is especially slow for reasons we don't yet understand. But we desperately need better social scientific knowledge to build the sophisticated institutions today's world demands. And the question is, social science develops especially slowly because it is not as important as natural science. And the answer is no. Here the question contains extra information, which is because it is not as important. So the question says, uh, social science develops especially slowly because it is not as important. So the paragraph says for reasons we don't understand. So in the paragraph, the passage says that the reasons we don't understand the reasons, and here the question says because it is not as important. So the question is giving a reason, and the paragraph says for reasons we don't understand. Thus, specifying any reason would have made the answer no. If the question was simply social science develops especially slowly, the answer would be yes. So that is why the answer is no. I hope you understood it, because in the question they have given a reason that it is not as important, but in the passage it is written that for reasons we don't understand. So the answer is no. Now the second trick in this true, false, not given or yes, no, not given questions is identifying the correct location. Sometimes students don't read the passage properly and they miss critical information. A good technique here would be to read the next question. If the next question information is yet to come, then there is no harm in reading further. In fact, the student should read further. Example, Paragraph information. The good news, though, is that the last century's stunning changes in our societies and technologies have not just increased our need for ingenuity, they have also produced a huge increase in its supply. The growth and urbanization of human populations have combined with astonishing new communication and transportation technologies to expand interactions among people and produce larger, more integrated, and more efficient markets. These changes have, in turn, vastly accelerated the generation and delivery of useful ideas. But, and this is critical, but we should not jump to the conclusion that the supply of ingenuity always increases in lockstep with our ingenuity requirement. While it's true that necessity is often the mother of invention, we can't always rely on the right kind of ingenuity appearing when and where we need it. In many cases, the complexity and speed of operation of today's vital economic, social, and ecological systems exceed the human brain's grasp. Very few of us have more than a rudimentary understanding of how these systems work. They remain fraught with countless unknown unknowns, which make it hard to supply the ingenuity we need to solve problems associated with these systems. Now, the questions are: the demand for ingenuity has been growing during the past 100 years. This is question one. The ingenuity we have may be inappropriate for solving problems at hand, and there are very few who can understand the complex systems of the present world. Now, these three were the questions which were related to this passage, which I have just read out. Answers: yes, yes, and yes. Questions 1 and 3 were easy. The first red line answers question 1, while the second red line answers question 3. Now, just see. The demand for ingenuity has been growing during the past 100 years. Here it is. The good news, though, is that the last century's stunning changes, the last centuries, the past 100 years, stunning changes in our societies and technologies have not just increased our need for ingenuity, they have also produced a huge increase in its supply. So, demand has been growing. So, this is a very clear cut answer: yes. Thus, it was easy to point out that during the last century, past 100 years, the need, that is, demand for ingenuity, has increased. There are very few who can understand the complex systems of the present world. This is the third question. And this part of the passage here, very few of us have more than a rudimentary understanding of how these systems work. Now, for question 2, we must first demarcate that if question 2 is yes no, it would be between these two red lines in the paragraph. It can also be 1 or 2 lines above or below these two red lines, but in this general area. Then we should match the context if we have trouble. So here you just see this. This is a passage. This is one red line, this is one red sentence, and this is one red sentence. This is for question 1. You find the answer here. And for question 3, you find the answer here. So if the answer is yes or no, it should be between these two red marks, or just one sentence above or one sentence below here. So mostly it is to be between these two. So that is what this trick is, that you have to read between those two. For question 2, first we must demarcate where it would be. So question 2 says the ingenuity we have may be inappropriate for solving problems at hand, which means that the ingenuity we have is not good or bad. Is not good or bad. Let's read paragraph 2. We can't always rely on the right kind of ingenuity appearing when and where we need. This also is negative, hence the answer would be true. So because the passage says that we can't always rely on the right kind of ingenuity appearing when and where we need, and the question is the ingenuity we have may be inappropriate. So here it is negative, inappropriate. Here we can't always rely on this. So both sentences are negative and relate to the same topic. So answer would be true. Then the third trick is identifying critical words on which true false depend. There are many critical words on which the whole crux of the question lies. It is very important to identify such words and read the paragraph from that sense. Some of the examples of these words are every, always, only, never. Every means each and every. Always is all the time, always. Only means just one, only this. Never means not ever, never. Many times the answer is false because the paragraph is opposite to the crux of the question due to this critical word. Paragraph information. These early explorers soon realized that although some of the butterflies' bright colors are there to attract a mate, others are warning signals. They send out a message to any predators: keep off, we are poisonous. Question is, all butterflies' color of wing reflects a sense of warning to other predator? Answer is no. The critical word is all. All would mean each and every butterfly. But the paragraph says not all, but some, and therefore the answer would be no. Another example, paragraph information. Both chemical and natural supporters cite plausible signs to back their claims to the moral high ground, and both bring enough passion to the debate for many people to come away thinking we are faced with a stark choice between two mutually incompatible options. Not so. If you take off the ideological blinkers and simply ask how the world can produce the food it needs with the least environmental cost, a new middle way opens. So, question is, there are only two options for farmers. They use chemical fertilizers or natural approach. Answer is no. The critical word is only two. There are more than two options, and hence the answer would be no. The second paragraph says that there is a uh, new middle way, which implies that there are more than two options. So this is uh, the next trick. So only, all, every, you have to look for such words. Then the last thing is comparative and superlative degree. Many questions in IELTS have comparisons while the paragraph doesn't. It can also be that the paragraph contains comparison but the question doesn't. Focusing on these comparisons is the key to answering such questions. Just see some examples. Paragraph information is, among cultured pearls, Akoya pearls from Japan are some of the most lustrous. A good quality necklace of 40 Akoya pearls measuring 7 millimeter in diameter sells for about $1,500, while a super high quality strand sells for $4,500. Size, on the other hand, has to do with the age of the oyster that created the pearl. The more mature oysters produce larger pearls, and the location in which the pearl was cultured. The South Sea waters of Australia tend to produce larger pearls. Question 1. The size of pearls produced in Japan is usually of smaller size than those which came from Australia. So this is the question. Question is that the size of pearls in Japan is smaller than those which came from Australia. And question 2 is, Akoya pearls from Japan glows more deeply than the South Sea pearls of Australia. So both these questions have comparisons. Answer 1 is true. The question compares the size of the pearls of Japan and Australia, and the paragraph also contains a comparison. The word larger implies comparison, which means the pearls from Australia are comparatively larger than Japan, and hence the answer would be true. Answer 2 is not given. The question compares the lustrous nature of pearls, and while the pearls from Akoya are one of the most lustrous, the paragraph doesn't answer whether they are more lustrous than those of Australia or less. Hence, the answer would be not given. So, this was my lesson for today. I have given 4 tricks and tips to remove your doubts in the yes, no, not given or the true, false, not given questions. Please let me know in the comment section whether you understood these points or not, and then I'll come up with more such reading tips and tricks. I have one lesson planned for the paragraph headings, uh, which I think would be very useful. But I must first know whether you like this one and you are being helped with this one, because yes, no, not given and true, false, not given questions are really, really, really very intimidating for students. They find them very confusing, and I hope with these tricks you will be able to understand them better. And when you practice, please let me know whether the tricks helped you in